Phoenix Wright is a niche but legendary series that is almost 20 years old. It's been released so many times on different consoles, but here it is on the Nintendo Switch for the first time in the form of a trilogy pack of the first 3 games. It's Jordan here from SwitchWatch, and I'm here to make a case for Phoenix Wright. Where do I start when trying to explain the story of a game that spans 3 full entries? Well, let's start at the beginning when rookie lawyer Phoenix Wright, understudy to Mia Fey, is called up to defend his bumbling childhood friend Larry Butts, who is accused of murdering his girlfriend. This is the introductory episode in which Phoenix proves himself to be a capable lawyer and turning almost certain defeat into victory. I don't want to go into too many spoilers considering that the story is the main pull here, but in the second episode Phoenix is thrust into the limelight pretty much by himself, aside from Mia's plucky supernatural infused sister Maya coming in a supporting role. While each game is divided into a handful of very separate cases, all with a different murder in a different location, rarely connected, there is an overarching plot that follows Phoenix's career as well as those surrounding him. You'll be surprised at how each game manages to pull together everything almost too well at the end. Phoenix is a great character, as are all the supporting ones too. Maya, Larry, his main rival Miles Edgeworth, who takes a starring role in the absolutely superb 4th episode in the first game. There's just such a memorable cast of characters here. Even some of the throwaway witnesses are highly memorable, and the character that these games show is almost second to none. If you want to lose yourself in a fantastic, engrossing story, then this triple pack of courtroom drama with plenty of humor thrown in would be perfect for you. The gameplay is very minimal. It's basically a visual novel with some adventure game moments thrown in. Each case starts with a murder and someone accused of that murder. Phoenix Wright must defend that person and in doing so, find the real murderer with evidence to support it. In that regard, there are 2 separate gameplay sections. The first part are the investigations. This is where you go from location to location, speaking to witnesses, pilfering evidence in order to build up your case, or find clues as to the real culprit. At times it can feel like one of those cheap hidden object games, but actually done properly, and talking to the characters is a reward enough in itself, as is making progress. The back and forth between Phoenix and Maya is great, even if the gameplay may seem tedious me explaining it, but to be honest it's not. The second half of the game takes part in the courtroom. This is where the tension ramps up and all the drama spews out into the open. Phoenix, as the defense attorney, and your rival prosecutor take in turns to rinse out the witnesses on the stand. Witnesses will testify, and the main part of the gameplay here is to find contradictions in the statements that they provide in order to get the real truth. The way things develop over the course of the courtroom scenes is fantastic. You always know the prosecutor has a few cards close to their chest to spring on you and throw a spanner in the works, and it's your job to overcome them. The Phoenix Wright games have always had one major flaw that, despite being major, is often overlooked just because of how well everything else is put together and crafted. As said, in the courtroom scenes you're often asked to produce evidence in order to support your point or contradict the witness's statement that they said. It works well for the most part, but the issue is that the games are very rigid and demand that you give the answer that they want you to. Even if you found something else that you want to present, even if it's very logical, that's not what the game wants. It can be a little infuriating and, for sure, makes you second guess yourself for overthinking stuff. It doesn't help that each court session only gives you a handful of mistakes to make before giving you a game over and starting from scratch. Like I said, it's a problem, but one that can be forgiven thanks to the characters and the story. When it comes to having 3 massive games, each with a handful of cases, not all of them are going to be winners, and some will be far more forgettable than some of the truly outstanding ones. For me, the first game is damn near perfect, whereas the second is more up and down, and the third pretty much stellar too. But I'm sure just like Final Fantasy fans, Phoenix Wright fans will always have a bit of a debate as to which one really is the best one. Either way, here we have 3 games all with quality. When it comes to visual novels, few are better than Phoenix Wright. It's so good that you kind of forget it's part of the genre. I'll freely admit I'm not a big fan of visual novels, but I am a big fan of Phoenix Wright. The story, the characters, the mystery and the courtroom battles sort of transcend the series out of that pigeonhole. Yes, the gameplay as a whole may be meager, but you're so engrossed in the presentation and character you can't help but feel like you're far more involved than you actually are. For me, Phoenix Wright will always be timeless, and this can be seen in the fact that it's over 18 years old since the first game arrived on the Game Boy Advance. That very same game gives just as much joy now as it did back then, except it has a fancier coat of paint. Speaking of that coat of paint, this high definition trilogy looks gorgeous, so bright, clean, and colourful. It's almost too pristine in a way, especially on a big TV where it can look a little sterile in comparison to the original games, which had fantastic sprite work. And I know that many Phoenix Wright purists will lament the loss of the classic look for this updated style, but I like them both. I already have the games on my DS, so if I want to go back to that style, I can. I don't think that this game is most suited being docked. It definitely looks and plays better in handheld, where it really pops off the screen, and the art style fits much better in my opinion. What do you guys think? Are you into these high definition, clearer visuals, or did you dig the classic sprites more? The music in Phoenix Wright is legendary. All three games have different composers, but the style gone into these soundtracks is downright perfect. I don't really know how to describe the music here, aside from that. It's catchy, tense, and easily listenable to outside of the game. I also want to mention the sound effects. Everything is so over the top that whenever a character gesticulates, the screen will shake and a sound effect will happen like you've just scored a critical hit in an RPG. It gives it that wacky anime feel that only enhances the personality of the game and stops the dialogue moments from becoming a little tedious. At the time of review, a Western release has been announced, but no release date has been offered as far as I'm aware. It is, however, available on the Japanese eShop with English language options right now. Plus, there is a physical release in Japan which you can import from Play Asia or something. If you're interested in that, I'll pop a link in the description below and you can sort yourself out with a nice juicy physical copy. On the eShop in Japan, the price is coming in at 3,300 yen, which translates as almost £23, 26 euros, or $30. Now that may seem fairly pricey, but you're getting 3 full games here, like properly full. I've played through all of them before, the first one multiple times, and you're looking at about 20 hours each. That's about 60 hours in total of quality, well-written, funny, interesting story. It is worth it. Plus think about back in the day when each of them were an individual release. Each of them would have gone for about $30 to $40 a piece back on the DS. Plus they're all tarted up in one nice package. The only reason I may suggest that it's not worth it is if you've played them already on the DS, 3DS, or perhaps on mobile. But if you're new to the series, it's an absolute bargain. Overall, when it comes to visual novels, very few come close to matching the quality that the Phoenix Wright games have to offer. 3 full games worth of fantastic story and characters that you will no doubt love. Gameplay is on the minimal side, but that is overlooked thanks to the engrossing story and tense courtroom battles. It does have that major problem when it comes to a lack of flexibility though, and to be honest, that's the only flaw for these fantastic, wonderful games. If you're looking for a story to sink yourself into, and you've never played Phoenix Wright before, then now may be the best time to do so. A 9 out of 10. If you're looking for a game with a bit more involvement but still home to a fantastic story with excellent characters, then head over to watch my review of Final Fantasy IX. I'll see you guys over there. Take care.